and in color. I'm out here in Washington D.C. You in out at L.A. keeping it warm, keeping it hot. 1585 show. Let me make sure it's streaming. Because last time it wasn't streaming. I had something wrong with my restream. It says my friends only. I gotta change that to public.
Yeah.
Can I change it to my phone? I gotta go to my website to do it. All right, let me do it on my website. I'm not sure why it does that. That's irritating. But it's better to get it done, get it fixed right now, than to be. It's public on here. Oh, that's just the picture. Oh, I get it. So I gotta go to my page and make the video public. All right, now refresh, and now everybody can see it. All right. I don't know why it does that, man. Video interrupted.
Changing everything up.
Elaine isn't watching, but I can't see her comment. Why that didn't pop up? I think I need to do my update at some point. They'll come through in a minute. All right, man. I'm back east. You on the West Coast. Let's get it, man. A lot going on. She did get through. It is popping. It is popping.
Hey, Elaine.
So she's in the house. We can see their comments there. All right, man. Olympic bias. They say no to the skull cap, the soul cap. I don't know, man. Drugs and sports. Sha'Carri's suspension. Broke my heart, man. We just talked about the matchup last week.
Just talked about it.
The NIL, name, image, and likeness, is in full effect. As soon as it passed, brothers was getting paid. Oh man! And you take it, you take it too personally, like Pat Bev. Athletic frustration. Why some athletes go way over top. 1585 intro. Nah, we ain't let them know, Miss Mac. Those who need to be here will be here. Those who supposed to be here will be here. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. But it's too much good stuff going on in the world.
Exactly my point.
Of sports.
Oh, most definitely.
Most definitely. I mean, first topic of discussion for me, as I have two young ladies in my house doing their natural hair journey. The Olympics, is it the IOC that makes these decisions about what is going to be allowed and what's going to be?
IOC.
The IOC.
Yeah.
All right, so it wasn't necessarily on my mind. The soul cap. Designed specifically with the sisters in mind.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening?
Has been the soul cap has been rejected by the Olympic governing bodies, IOC. They say it's unsuitable because they don't follow the natural form of the head. According to the FINA, the International Governing Body of Swimming, young black swimmers are disappointed and heartbroken by a decision to ban swimming caps for the Olympics that's made to cover their hair. All right, man. What are your first thoughts when you see this type of, oh man, I'm not even gonna say obvious, but blatant.
It's disheartening because earlier the IOC in Japan was like no protesting, no visual protesting for Black Lives Matter and social justice and stuff like that. First they brought that up months ago. Now they're bringing up the swim caps. That's not going to give these women any competitive advantage. It's just going to allow them with natural hair to be able to be more comfortable with their heads. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for these women who are going natural. It's almost like the hair thing at work. Not having dreads, not wearing your hair natural, not doing this and not doing that. It's like they're limited. What it is to me, I think black girl magic. They're tired of Black Americans more so than anything, because it seems like Black Americans are always constantly pushing the envelope in sports, especially when it comes to Olympics. Just in Berlin and to 1968, the protest with the fist. There's always somebody making a statement, and they're tired of it. I think the world is tired of it because it's just like they see the magical Black people. They see are extremely talented, and they see that we pretty much dominate the Olympics. We get the dream teams that go in. They're predominantly Black. The women's basketball team, predominantly Black. They dominate. We getting Black swimmers, Black gymnasts, track and field. You already know what it goes to. Us in Jamaica, pretty much. Everybody else got to get in where they fit in. I just think they're tired of it. And then they know that this movement that Black American women and Black Americans are doing is becoming a worldwide phenomenon. And Japan doesn't want to show that. If you know anything about Japan and this culture, there are Black Japanese people who are mixed because of the military and stuff like that. And that culture is kind of suppressed in Japan. And I think they don't want that to come in and be an influencing body in their country. I think Japan is partly behind this. Like, we don't want Afrocentric things happening. But also, I just think the world is giving a gigantic pushback on this. They kind of want to limit this. And what they don't understand is Olympics is built a lot, at least especially modern Olympics, on the exploits and the greatness of Black athletes. And Michael Phelps was big, but is Michael Phelps bigger than Usain Bolt? Is he bigger than what the story of Shelley Ann Fraser-Price is going to be in her fifth Olympics? Allison Felix is back. So you have all these Black women and you have all these Black athletes who are just dominant, and they just don't want it no more. I think they're kind of tired of it. I think they kind of want things to either even out or die down, and they most definitely don't want to. They just don't want that Black American influence in the Olympics.
So the cap has been rejected. What do they expect a young lady to do if she rocks the afro, if she rocks the dreadlocks? They want her to remove herself from the race? Like, what's the alternative? If you can't wear a skull cap that covers up your hair and is, you've seen them skull caps that the swimmers wear. It's not going to work against, our naturally beautiful, full, curly locks. What do they expect the sisters to do? What's the alternative?
There's no alternative. They want you to complain. They want you to not swim. They want you to not participate. They would be happy I think they would be happy, and I know I could be just jumping the gun on this. I think they would be happy if it wasn't no Black athletes. That they all would protest and Black Lives Matter. Because it would allow more others to excel. And that's what I see. It's like they're trying to give you a reason to complain. It's kind of like when somebody's poking the bear. You get mad at the bear because the bear attacks you, but you were sitting there poking this bear with a stick the whole time. I think they're finding ways. Once again, we don't want no social justice protests. Who's been doing the social justice protests for the past, 8, 9, 10 years? It's been Black Americans.
Yeah.
They don't want that. The IOC don't want it. It's more as if like, oh, we're happy that you guys want social justice, but we don't want this to be a mainstream. We don't want to see this in public. We want an Olympic Games. We don't want you bringing your protests here. Because if it was done in the United States, it wouldn't be a problem. And it's bad enough that Japan is already having a problem. Their COVID cases are rising. The people of Japan are protesting the Olympics. They don't want the Olympics to really be there, the majority of the people, besides, the country and there's government that's getting money for it.
Right.
And all the money built out these stadiums. But I think they really could care less about social impact. They just want return on their investment.
Well, like Elaine says, what do you expect a young lady to do with her braids? So you're probably right, Mac. They don't want us there. But do you imagine an Olympics without color? Can you imagine this? This it's called the Winter Olympics.
It started in Greece.
Well, it's called the Winter Olympics, and it's called the Ancient Rome, the Olympiad, where they wrestled with the fig leaves over there growing. It's really. It reminds me a little bit about a little bit like the NBA dress code back when they enforced that. It's like really a slap in the face, elephant in the room. Who is this targeted at? So the no protest warnings and rules, now the soul cap. You might be onto something, Jimmy Mack. They don't want us there. And sad to say, my son loves Japanese culture. Matter of fact, a lot of our African American young people love Japanese culture because of anime cartoons. And if the sentiment is not reciprocated in that you love our culture, instead is we don't want you here. That's disheartening, man. It's unfortunate, but I believe it is probably true because I've had some Japanese family members or friends of mine who did not necessarily want me in the house. I didn't know what that was when I was younger. I thought it was more of a respect thing. You don't come in the house, you stay outside, and I'll be right back. Why can't I come in the house? You come in my house. And the older I get, the more I see those little subtle reminders.
Yeah.
There might be a racial thing here, and I think this right here is absolutely. I don't think this holds up. This one right here, I believe, will have to be reversed some kind of way because you cannot fit no braids and no afro under them small little caps they got. They're gonna ask people to cut their hair off to race in the swim. I guess they are. And it's like the young man, they had to get his dreads cut off in the wrestling match. It's wrong. It's wrong, man. It really is wrong. So we'll see how this develops, man. I think it's really messed up. And it doesn't, like Elaine said, it has no. You said it too. There's no advantage to wearing it. As you look at cycling, they have helmets that are aerodynamically created, so the wind will cut across their head. And they have swimsuits where water can wick off, so you can swim faster. But we have a skull cap to keep braids and afros tied down, so they're not catching all the water. And now they have an advantage, so to speak. I don't know, man. I hate racism, man, but it's here. Elaine says, I'm not sure that it's Japan as much as it is the Olympic commissions. They want to make money, though. Dietrich said, Japan doesn't make the choice of the swim cap. That's the Olympic Committee. The pressure came from somewhere.
But they have input. I mean, if you're going to host an Olympics, you have input. You have influence over the IOC. The Olympic Committee is just as corrupt as the World Cup Committee. People bid and pay money to have the host Olympics. There's not like 4 or 5 countries are like, hey, I think it'd be a cool idea to host the Olympics. There are lots of countries who are trying to host the Olympics because they know the attention that it can bring to their country and
the revenue.
They're bribing officials, man. Like, if you've seen the World Cup scandal, I want to say it was on Real Sports. I mean, it was out of control, ridiculous how they were bribing these officials to host the World Cup. I'm quite sure it's the same thing in the Olympics. That's why you only have the Olympics in certain countries. It's not like they were like, okay, let's hold the Olympics in Madagascar this year. They're not going to ever do that because Madagascar isn't going to put up the money to do that, or they're not going to put up enough money. They got to bribe enough jobs. I mean, think about it. Have we ever had an Olympics in Africa? You know,
Huh.
have we ever had one?
Ever.
You know,
Ever.
ever. So
Wow.
they're not going to do it. And if they did do one, it would probably be South Africa. And we know the racism and the history of racism in South Africa. You know, so would South Africa want to shine a light on that? It's bad enough they hosted the World Cup there, and they did shine some lights on there. But you know, the South Africans really behaved during that World Cup. It's not to say that they wouldn't behave for the Olympics, but we all know the stories. And now that social justice and people speaking up and having a platform to speak now is out there, you know, a lot of things can come out. I think Japan has got the power to go, you know what, let's not do that. Let's not let's allow these women to do that, because there's no competitive advantage. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they made exceptions for a guy who had prosthetic limbs to run, but a woman can't do a swim cap that can just conducively hold her hair. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy to me how they can make exceptions to the rules for some people, and so it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm wondering who's at that table and who approves those types of decisions. Elaine says they're trying to keep swimming colorless. Wow, because they have lost gymnastics and tennis, the sports that were traditionally lack color. Uh-oh. So who's our champion right now? Our sister, Black Girl Magic in the pool. What's her last name?
Simone Manuel.
Simone Manuel. Now, what type of hairstyle does she wear when she's not in the pool? Does she have a lot of hair and she needs to wear a soul cap, or is she able to wear the regular cap?
I'm not for sure.
Let me find a picture of her. Because if she's the one they're trying to get out the pool. If this is what this is, they're trying to find a way, as they got our segue into Sha'Carri Richardson. Let's see. Do I have a picture?
Her hair. She seems to wear her hair just regularly natural, but she has a lot of hair. Well, she probably gets it pressed to get in the pool, or maybe even gets a perm
to tie it down.
Yeah, so she can be able to hold it down. But you know, that's an exception. I mean, when you look at Olympic swimmers, especially on both the men and the women's side, a lot of them they cut their hair, they shave their hair, more aerodynamic. As my wife just brought the swim cap that my daughter wears.
That's mine.
Or no, this is the one. Well, they both wear this type. You know, my wife never gets in the water. But they have these type.
That's a regular one, but this. So I found a picture.
This is for non-competitive swimming, though. I mean, this is like a balloon, man. You open this thing up, it's just huge. But it's there to keep up the hair. But the one that they're trying to make for these black women, you know what I'm saying? It's not giving it a competitive advantage. You know, think about the first. Remember when we were in high school and we just had the singlets, we had the shirt and we had the bottoms. Then dudes they started coming out with the full body suits that we had to wear.
Yeah.
I was cheating, you know what I'm saying? But then again, we're talking about track and field, a sport that's predominantly dominated, at least in the sprints, by African Americans. So I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it just seems shady and fishy that we can make exceptions when we feel like it, and we don't make exceptions when we feel like it. And as Elaine said, they could be trying to keep the sport colorless. You know, I mean, we have had great success in the pool, but we haven't had great overall success where you have black men and women who just dominate in the sport. Not many black men and women are being raised to be in the pool like that. You know what I'm saying? We find other ways to show our athletic abilities.
Well,
but don't worry.
Yeah.
This is going to be a moment, though.
She wears a regular cap, so she's not going to be out the tournament. She's going to be in there. So we're going to see her get hers in. Mark Paul says the Olympics will let a man who identifies as a woman compete against a naturally born woman in the powerlifting, but they won't let a woman wear a swim cap suitable for her hair. Don't get us started, Mark. I saw your post this week, and you had to go back and forth with your brother. It's a battle that's not even worth your time, man. It makes no sense whatsoever. What Mark Paul is referring to as a transgender male who's now identified as a woman he placed on the Olympic team and beat out a naturally born woman for the team. And the argument was that's not fair to that woman. And the person that was arguing with Mark, says we're not being fair to the gender folks, the gender identifier folks. You know, whatever we're doing, gender smearing or whatever it's called. But just think about it, man. If that's your daughter, and she's the last spot on the team, and she gets beat out by a man, you wouldn't be okay with that. It's not cool. So some of the stuff that we're seeing in our face, blatantly in our face, we know it's not kosher, it's not right, but we have to accept it because we have no juice, we have no power when it comes to these types of things. So it's another thing that we just have to continue to speak up on, continue to make noise about, and just say common sense is not common by any stretch, man. So I feel you, Big Mark.
Well, it's the narrative behind it. Because I mean, let's just face it. If it is the guy who's a marginal athlete who doesn't want to give up his athlete career, just goes, you know what? The women's world record is 10:49. I'm 10:30. I can't make the Olympics. You know what I'm gonna do? I identify as a woman. I am a woman. You know, and what they gonna say? Well, you're not genuine. You know what I'm saying? Are they gonna say, well, that person? How can you tell if a person's being genuine or not? Oh, I just decided I identify this way. You know, we create slippery slopes, which is gonna create a problem, and they're gonna try to rectify that problem. Like I know in Texas years ago, where they had the guy who identified as a woman was winning wrestling state championships, or in Connecticut where they had the young man who identified as a woman who won the 100 meters and was beating everybody, breaking the women records. But they're naturally born men, you know what I'm saying? And they did that in UFC, and I know we talked about it before, where that male, the naturally born male, beat that woman up so bad that, you know, he broke her face bones and seriously hurt her. You know, we can't. It's an advantage. You know what I'm saying? If you're testing for testosterone in track and field and running, or you're testing for enhancements, men already have that main testosterone that they have that physical advantage. That's cheating as well. So I don't think that they can do that. I just think it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong for a person to identify their gender. That's great. I support you, but you know that you have an unfair advantage. And that's not saying like, oh, well, like Sha'Carri said earlier, and we'll get to that. She said that, you know, I'm a regular human. I'm just a little bit faster. Yes, you're going to have this man who identifies as a woman, but he's going to be a little bit stronger. And I mean, not say tougher, a little bit stronger, because he's a natural man and not a woman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With the hormones that he used to suppress the male part of him, he's still going to be a man physically. Now, I just think that's wrong.
Mark Paul said, I can't identify as a white man with great credit and a rich daddy, so the world needs to wake up. You can't, I mean, yeah. He's a transracial. He's transracial. It is, man. I mean, we're saying, I agree with Elaine, there should be a separate division that you can still compete, still get your name in the paper, still be famous, still be loved by many, have a fan base, but you should not do it at the expense of women, and vice versa. Like a female that identifies as a man and she gets all the endorsements over the men, you know, there's still a slippery slope both ways. But when it comes to competitive sports, the obvious right here, I know that the Olympic sprinter that didn't make it because she had too much testosterone still in her system. So she did not qualify. Next time around, she'll be good to go because she's getting all the stuff removed from her system. So it still will be unfair when she's out there looking like Usain Bolt running against Sha'Carri Richardson. So it's just a moral. It's like a moral. We have nothing against the transgender LGBTQ plus community, but don't ruin women's sports because you want to push your agenda or your position in the world. There's room. Have another heat, open division, or a whole nother Olympics, just like the Special Olympics, a whole nother Olympics. Everything goes. Get you a new IOC. Everything goes. Drugs are illegal. Drugs are legal here, or whatever it is. But don't do it because my daughter might be running. And I will be so upset if we train our whole lives for this opportunity and we get beat by a man. I don't think that's cool. Oh man, Mr. Langston in the house, officer, sergeant, said proven fact, men biologically have more fast twitch muscle fibers than women. And that's science. What can you do about that, man? It's not fair, man.
Dispute the science when it benefits the agenda of the whole thing. No, but science is going to be, there are women who can beat men. FloJo can beat a bunch of men running. Okay. But that was FloJo. She's the only woman. She has the 2 fastest times ever in the 200 meters in the world history, and the fastest time. But that's one person. That's not a bunch of it. She's the only woman who can beat most men out there running that are competitive athletes. But if you took, like I say, you took those guys who's running 1030s, 1020s, who can't make Olympic teams and go, yep, I'll give me a gold medal. My name went from Harry to Harriet. I identify as a female, and I'm about to go out here and get it done. If we allow that to happen, it's gonna just open up the floodgates for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not against them competing. Like you say, have an open heat. You know what I'm saying? Have an open heat for that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because it gives them equality, because they get to compete.
And they get endorsements, get popular, everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't run. We're not saying you can't lift, but you have to have an asterisk. You cannot take somebody's spot that has worked their whole life for the same opportunity. I just don't think that's right, man. It just is not right. It just hurts me, man, because I know how important it is. Like, it's a segue to Sha'Carri Richardson's situation, transitioning. Young phenom Sha'Carri Richardson tested positive for cannabis and tentatively has been suspended 30 days, which would disqualify her in 100 meters, but not the not the 4x1, not the team, but the 100 open. So the news came out. She owned it. I believe she went on a Good Day America. She says, I'm young. I made a mistake. So are you upset? Are you mad? Or are the IOC once again targeting black women? Because who got this information? She ain't the only one that smokes weed on the Olympic team. But they showed it, make sure the number one sprinter in America gets suspended. So what say you when you heard the news? And you know, I don't know how I feel about it just yet.
When I heard the news, my wife told me yesterday. No, I saw it in the morning earlier, because Darrell Smith had posted it on Facebook, and I seen it, and I was like, so what happened with Sha'Carri? I was hoping that something didn't happen, like there was a tragic accident or something. But then when it was like she tested positive for marijuana, in my head I'm like, really? We're still on this? That's not a performance enhancement drug. It's not something that's going to make a person. I mean, personally, I think if you ran while you were high, it would be a disadvantage.
It'd be slower.
You know, you would have a disadvantage. But, you know, I think how she stated it, you know, she found out from a reporter, not from her family, a reporter, that her biological mom died while she's in the middle of competing to be on the Olympic team. And she had to deal with it. I mean, she had to cope with it. I mean, plenty of athletes have tried drugs. They've done them. Some of them still currently do it. Some of them, I knew players who played high. It was amazing to me that they could do it. But I just think that right now, especially when it comes to cannabis, weed, marijuana, Mary Jane, whatever way you want to say it, them trees, your veggies, however way you want to say it, the science is out. It's not a performance enhancement. Will it chill you out? Yes. Can it take away nerves? Yes. Do they use it for medical purposes? Yes. I was reading a story earlier today. A woman got into a car accident because the doctor prescribed her Ambien. And they asked the doctor, hey, why would you give this woman Ambien? Because she couldn't sleep. He said, but if she would have took the marijuana that I prescribed for her, she would have probably never gotten into that car accident. Because even though she took Ambien to go to sleep at night, the Ambien was still in her system. She probably would have smoked a blunt, got hungry, ate, fell asleep, woke up, would have been fine and drive her daughter to school. But instead, she knows you have to go through that. So we have, you know, and I get it. There are some people who abuse these things. But once, as I was telling my wife, I think they're tired of black girl magic. Sha'Carri Richardson is unapologetically an American black woman from Texas. She talks hood.
She talks mad trash.
She got hood swag. She's flamboyant. And I personally think this is something that they could have swept under the table because it's just marijuana. But I think they're trying to prove a point. We don't want that type of imagery to be the representation of it. So we're going to go ahead and do it. Because guess who's really testing her is the United States Olympics. Those are the ones who really test. And I'm quite sure they have swept plenty of drug tests under the mat, like, oh, that didn't happen. But now we're going to get to this young woman, and it's just like, she's really unapologetically black. And I don't think, once again, and I ain't trying to call it a conspiracy. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of pushback because we have black girl magic in Brazil. You can't do nothing about that because there's a lot of black people in Brazil. They don't want black girl magic in Japan. Okay, we already had that phase 5 years ago. We don't want that no more. So I really think that they're trying to find a way because this woman has a legitimate shot of being a gold medal winner, of probably running really fast, maybe 1050s. You know what I'm saying? No woman has run 1050s other than FloJo. She could do it in a heated race with her, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, Dina Asher-Smith, you know, many other great track stars. Anything can happen. They don't want her to do it. Because Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, when you see her, she's very classy. She's Jamaican, but she's classy. She has that little girlish smile. She talks really nice and sweet. They know Sha'Carri probably get up there and be like, I told y'all I was going to roll out.
Told y'all.
I was in the house.
You keep messing. She said, y'all keep messing with me. I love Sha'Carri Richardson, man. I really am heartbroken that she's not going to be able to run. I still hope some kind of way they shorten this suspension and allow her to run at least the 200. Because the 200 is already loaded. But I know they're going to remove her 100 meter. Like you said, it's not an advantage. If she got attorneys in place and they can appeal all this stuff, if someone's vouching for her, speaking up for her in these meetings, they can overturn this stuff, man. Like you said, I hate to belittle any drug, but we're not talking about performance-enhancing drugs. We're talking about a prescription drug to most for pain, for stress, for mental health. People use weed now for everything that helps you get to the next day, not the race, not the weight room, mentally and your body feeling better. Like, it's a real deal now. Like, NFL players at some point in the near future, I can see them getting marijuana prescribed by team doctors for pain relief because it is safer than Vioxx, it's safer than Celebrex, it's safer than ibuprofen, it's safer than cortisone shots, it's safer than all these different medications they've been giving us, like candy, giving us kidney failure, liver failure. I mean, I believe they killed Walter Payton with painkillers.
Addiction.
Man,
you know, we have the opioid crisis and giving opiates.
And I don't know about you, but I see Snoop Dogg is doing very well. Snoop Dogg ain't got a health concern, and he is the granddaddy of all bud smokers. And his skin is smoother than mine. He's older than me. His hair is down to his back. He got more endorsements than anybody I know. He is doing very well, and he is the king of bud smoking. So I think he is the ambassador of how weed can be medicinal and not just recreational. I'm applauding.
That's the catch.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I applaud her for accepting it and not denying it, because if she denied it, they would have found footage, just like they got Michael Phelps with the imagery of him with the bong and all that other stuff. And everyone's like, well, how come Michael Phelps got suspended? But Michael Phelps got high after the race. If he got high before the race, like you said, they swept it under the covers. They swept it under the carpet.
Mm.
We never got to hear about it. Nobody cared Michael Phelps was getting high after the Olympics. Weed's legal. Like Mark Paul said, in 18 of 19 states, weed's legal. So it's very hard for us to accept. We got brothers locked up for 10, 15 years over weed that's now legal. So
now they got that's selling weed, but they're doing big time because they were selling weed.
And it's legal.
It's just crazy. But that's the hypocrisy of our society. You can make music talking about drug use. You can make movies, How High, with two of my favorite rappers, Method Man and Redman.
And it's hilarious.
The songs that got it going. You know what I'm saying? Cheech and Chong. We can talk about drug use. We can talk about how drugs are big prominent in America and stuff like that. But let an athlete do it, then it's a problem. Or drugs is an issue. It's a problem. Man, we just have all type of things that's just going on in our society that's just so hypocritical. And I love what Dwayne Wade said about it. He said, you know what? A lot of these people that are making up these rules, and I mean, me and Brandon Thomas talk about this all the time. They're the ones that's telling people you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't drugs, you can't do that. Be the main ones doing this stuff, status and level, and nobody's watching them. As Regina King said in Enemy of the State, who's watching the watchers of the watchers? You know what I'm saying? They put all these rules on us, but then who's watching them whenever the rules? Who's watching them when they're something wrong? I'm quite sure. I mean, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who is a perv.
Yeah.
So R. Kelly had time a perv and was in trouble for perv. This man is still sitting in Congress. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of these things where the people at the top can do whatever they want because they're the ones making the rules, but then they're breaking the rules all the time. So it's just crazy, man, on how this stuff works out, man. I feel bad for the young lady. I was so looking forward to her taking over the mantle and being that new star.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even if she didn't win 100, we know she's next in line. Yeah. And that's what I was looking forward to. And there dashed this young lady dreams. And I love what she said this morning. She said, you know, I'm young, but I was telling my wife, I mean, we had the young lady from USC who won 2 national championships, and the pandemic came, and now she couldn't even defend her title. She lost. She didn't even finish in the 5.
Wow.
In college. And she ran in the world championships in 2019 and took 4th in the world. But she can't even get to that level no more. So your Olympic opportunities sometimes are really, really
real small, man.
So we don't feel bad for the young lady.
Hypocrisy, man. Hypocrisy. Ms. Mack brought up a good point. Nike stick with her. What does that say when the endorsements don't run away? We got some great segues tonight. The endorsements. Nike, once again, at the forefront, supporting the person that the culture is trying to cancel. Nike's like, we're not going to cancel just yet. Let's see, how many student athletes actually partake in the trees? I'm pretty sure Nike had a meeting real quick. How many followers does Sha'Carri Richardson have? Okay. And how old is she? Okay.
Millions of followers.
Okay. So Nike's like, slow your roll on pulling that endorsement. Not the same backlash as someone who might have been caught with a sex scandal or something that might be spousal abuse or domestic violence, but a little herb. Nike's like, well, we're up here in Oregon, and we have few hippies that used to have the "Make Love Not War" motto on our board, and they're like you said, it's just weed, and she admitted it. She made a mistake. People love a super megastar that admits they were wrong, and they have a comeback. Nike's gonna make a killing off this young girl, man. I hope they give her $100 million. I just know she's that big of a star. I'm still pulling for her. I hope they allow her to run. I love to see her run. I love her attitude. I love her flair. Everything about her is fun to watch. I think she brings back entertainment to American sprinting for the females. Not that we've lost it, but she brings it, man, and she's fun to watch.
Angry. She's so angry. Oh my God. I don't want her to be so angry. She needs to be
You be angry too if you went to Orange County and everybody looking at you like you ain't supposed to be there. You be angry too if you lived in Texas and every time you go to the mall, people are like, oh, there's that girl. Hey, do you, girl? I like it. Like I said, if I was 18 back in the day, when you was 18, you would be in trouble, Sha'Carri Richardson. You'd be in big trouble. You be on my team.
AC girl.
You'd be running behind me at the track meet. You would be one of my girls. For the show right on. Miss Mac said, I also wanted to know who sold it to her. So what she said was she was at a party, right? She was at a party.
I don't know the story, but she said she was coping with her mom's death and the anxiety and pressure of getting to the Olympics. Because the last time she lost, she missed out on the World Championships because I wouldn't say she choked. She just didn't have her best performance that day after having a long collegiate year. So when she got to the nationals, she didn't do well. So I'm quite sure that pressure was on her too. Yeah. Like, I gotta make this. All this good running that I'm doing early in the season is for naught.
Yeah.
Then you find out your mom passed away. I mean, people do drugs for less. People do drugs just to do them.
Just to do them.
She did it in her mind. I was coping with tragedy and anxiety.
Hey, it's like I said, they suspended people for worse. I mean, what did they do with Ryan Lochte last time? The swimmer who was vandalizing stuff, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, the dude that got in trouble in Brazil.
Yeah.
My boy. He said, "Boys will be boys."
Slap him on the hand. He'll be back. We love Ryan Lochte. Miss Mac says she like girls. That ain't never stopped nobody before, Miss Mac. I don't care if she like girls. I was a mean man, and when I was a youngster, I was able to.
She was gonna throw her on her.
Hey, she never been treated by a gentleman. That's what that is. That's them ratchet dudes down in Texas ain't talking to her right. She ain't been wined and dined by a gentleman. They'll tell her how beautiful she is, and how amazing she is, and how the world is hers. I'm just here trying to get a little taste, just a little bit of your time, just a little bit. I don't want a whole bunch. I'm not even gonna ask a bunch of questions. But anytime you want to go out and have a good time. I said, boy, before my wife came on the scene. No, I wasn't no pimp. I just wanted to let her know that she's very interesting and fun to be around. And she should go out with me.
Yeah, Todd, we talked about how Michael Phelps got popped, but his thing was he did it in celebration after he won.
He was done.
So he wasn't like he did it. But we all know, man. I mean, we has become it's the thing to do in our society, man. I mean, from the cool kids to the unpopular kids. It's just the thing to do, man. I just think that they're deciding to take her down a peg, and I don't like it. You know, and I just think that they don't have to be the face of American track and field, especially after you have Allison Felix, who was the face of women's track and field for the United States, and we know how graceful and how I wouldn't say choir girl. She's just your typical young lady who focuses on track and field, who, you know, she just had a different way of being black. And I think they want to accept the Allison Felix black, which is totally acceptable in any type of thing. It's just that the Sha'Carri Richardson black hits a little bit different. It hits hard, man. You got to deal with the fact that you're going to get a bunch of her running. They don't want that.
She's going to be all over them.
I coach a track team. I know how that goes. I know how that get down.
Oh, man.
That hits different at track meets when they come in intimidating and bullying.
Didn't they say that's why they chose Jackie Robinson over Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson? Because he was more of the right Negro. Sha'Carri's not the right Negro right now. For Black Lives Matter, for the Me Too movement, for everything that's going on in the world today. Long nails, hair, brass, gonna cuss you out if you say something crazy to her. We're not ready for that. We'll let Allison do it. She's docile, she's a mom, she's good, clean, wholesome. Sha'Carri, she's lesbian, she has tattoos, she has nails up to here. Her hair is different colors every day, and she'll cuss you out. And her eyelashes are real long and scary. That's too much black girl magic.
And for anybody that's seeing this, we're not knocking Allison Felix at all. I call her the go to track and field.
She's the GOAT.
Her range from the 100 to the 400 is absolutely amazing. But I just think that they have to, and like I said, I don't think it's all black women in the world. I think it's American black women that they want to settle down, because we're gonna watch the 400 hurdles. You got two exceptional black women. Like, that's gonna be the marquee race of the Olympics. The last 3 times these women have ran against each other, they broke a world record. One of them has broken the world record. So you're going to see that magic on top of having Sha'Carri Richardson's magic thrown up in there too. I think it would have been an overdose of black American women, and I just don't think the world wants to see that anymore. I just think the world needs, if they found the reason to take somebody down, they're going to take somebody down. Then you're going to have Gabby Thomas, who might win the 200, the black girl from Harvard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, black women would have just upstaged this Olympics. Well, yeah. And I just think that they're trying to figure out how can we loosen that a little bit.
Man, we own the Summer Olympics. You got Sydney McLaughlin. She's a sister. She might be mixed. I know it's a bad word by my mulatto brothers and sisters, but you can clearly see. But her hair curls up if it gets wet too. And she gonna dominate the 400 hurdles. It's everywhere, man. Child said, "Where's Marion Jones these days?" I'm pretty sure she's sitting back and saying, "Hey, I remember this. They took her down." Mick Mark agrees with me. She might swing the other way. He said, "Don't matter. Give me one conversation and one date. Don't let this big body fool you." She would have been on my arm. Tell him, Mark. Back in the day, bro, I'd have had my elder barge. I'd have had my elder barge hair whipped up like Christopher Williams. If I'm dreaming, just let me sleep. I would have had. My dream is complete. Oh, that's when we was back in style before Wesley Snipes took over. We was in style, Jack. I was Albie Shore in effect mode days. What you talking about?
One of the greatest albums of all time, Albie Shore, in effect mode.
In effect mode. They don't call him. Hey, we call Mark. Now we didn't call you Big Sexy because you had game on the strip. We called you Big Sexy because you had that big sweet jump shot. Mark Paul's Big Sexy come from that sweet jump shot. I don't know about you with the ladies back in the 90s, but yeah, I'll have to take your word for it. All right, man. But yeah, so my buddy Isamu Nichols said it was stupid for her to do that, knowing this window.
What was I saying?
I mean, you have to know better. You do. This is like a Stephen A. Smith rant. Stay off the weed. We'll forgive you. But now instead of making 5 Olympics, you're gonna make 4. And you could have been a 3 or 4 time champ. You might not get the opportunity this time. So I hope she learns a lesson. I hope people don't turn their back on her. She's still a very interesting young lady. I still wish the best for her, and she'll be successful, and she's gonna cash in like these new student athletes that have in a day, less than a day, signed $1 million deals with the name, image, and likeness ruling coming down from the NCAA. The student athletes can now get paid on their likeness. All right, Jimmy. What would the Maxter, number 85, what would be your first move knowing that this is what you can do with your own name and likeness?
Man, my own name and likeness, well, at the time, your man used to hit the ladies, the gentleman clubs. I would have tried to get every gentleman club in LA sponsoring me. I would have my jersey place. I would have been Jimmy Mack
at the right
Barbie Coast.
At the Barbie Coast in the first Kings?
Right.
Oh
first
no.
King. Snoop, Wild Goose.
Oh man.
Oh man. But I was, but like you said, man, the red vines, man. I just took pictures of myself with the red vines, me and Daddy O eating red vines before practice, man. You got 2 UCLA Bruins right here, red vines, man. We did try to get it, man. I mean, Northern Lights on campus, like the dinery on campus. I go to Northern Lights on campus. I know it's way past. They can't suspend UCLA and put them on probation now. My money wasn't good at Northern Lights in North Campus. I went up in there and they gave me free food all the time. So you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things, man. Who could have did what, and the possibilities of what you could have do. Like, we didn't have social media, so our whole team would have been sponsored by DD Reese. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing to see one of our teammates at DD Reese get taking a date out with a hot dog, a soda, and 2 cookies. You know what I'm saying? It would have been nothing for that. Circuit City, there was a girl, her last name was McElroy, that worked at Circuit City. And we wasn't related, but everybody swore that my sister worked at Circuit City. I got Circuit City to do it. Hey, his sister worked here, get a good sponsorship. Like, we knew how to talk, and we knew how to persuade things. I think, especially our team, how many characters we had on our team.
God.
And Hollywood was.
Oh my God. Hollywood Sharman Shaw? Oh my God.
Man, we would have been off the chain, man. Like, Sharman Shaw snuck into the Grammys, right? Remember that song?
He was in Bobby Brown's tent. I was like, what is Sharman doing with Bobby Brown on stage?
Yeah.
I was like, that dude had to give it gas.
I mean, we were some characters, man. We would have had it great. We would have had it going on, man. And then we're in the media capital of the world. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, I thought about it like Skip Hicks, JJ Stokes, Sharman, Cade, Wayne Cook, some of the bigger names that we had on our team. Man, them dudes Fast Freddie Mitchell.
Oh, man.
Imagine Fast Freddie getting NIL. Oh, man, it would have been crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I think this is going to be a game changer moving forward. And I know that we probably would have gotten to this segment, but they're going to outbid each other, man. People are going to outbid each other based on what I can provide for you. So I wouldn't be surprised if USC becomes the national power that USC has always been, because of their connections to Hollywood, because of their connections to a lot of different things, and they get to get paid and sponsored. I can see USC blowing up. I can see UCLA piggybacking off of it, but I can really see USC blowing up, where they'll change that power balance from the SEC back to the Pac, because the media market here is so much bigger. Yeah. Like OJ Mayo, remember, he came all the way from West Virginia to LA just for the media market, just for the experience. Now I get to get sponsored by somebody. Yeah. Man, dude's gonna be getting sponsored by Sweets, Black and Mild. Sponsorships on ridiculous, because they can get it done. And what's gonna say that a booster who owns a business, a car, remember Deshaun Foster got in trouble about the car. Man, he's sponsored by Westwood, or not Westwood, Santa Monica Cattle. Man, is gonna be a game changer. And what it's gonna do is gonna make the NCAA and the rest of the world wake up and say, you know what? We have deprived these young athletes for so long on being able to capitalize off their images, because for some sports that they can't go pro. Remember, our softball team was dominant. Them girls could have made a lot of money. There's no real professional softball. You know what I'm saying? And they were men's volleyball. Our men's volleyball team was down. I think they won a national title every year we were in school. But how they gonna reap that benefit? I think it's a great move, but now it's gonna be a bidding war. It's gonna be an open bidding war, and this is what you're gonna have so many outside sources that's gonna make this a bad thing. Yeah. And that's what I know to happen. They're gonna make it a bad thing when this is a great thing for student athletes. What's your take, AC?
AC Maryland has AC Card in the house. What up, bro? James Mack said they will be doing all the football movies now. Man, just imagine if we had this. I mean, we were in Deliver Us from Evil, and we didn't get no money. They showed a clip of the Michigan game. I believe I saw you, I saw myself, I saw P. Ward, I saw Skip Hicks. And I'm like, hey, I'm in the movie. I got no bread. Now, just imagine the number of movies. Now we can see real football players play football in the movie. Not a bunch of dudes that just look like football players, like muscle bodybuilder guys wearing football uniforms that can't play. I just think this.
Yep.
I mean, they're not. I don't think they're ever gonna give us a salary or a percentage of revenue. But I do believe this right here allows you to at least, like I got the Ed O'Bannon picture on the screen. This starts with Ed O'Bannon's lawsuit. When he sued, is it EA Sports, for image and likeness for the video game. Yeah, I believe was he on the cover? It was big time. And then Ramogi Huma kept it going. You figure how many years ago, this is 30 years later.
Yep.
And people still have a problem with it. We couldn't hold camps. We couldn't sign autographs. We couldn't make appearances. We couldn't even be seen in a commercial, let alone be an extra. We were refrained from doing so many different things that had nothing to do with it getting an advantage, but except being a popular person. You, myself, Sharman Shaw, Jonathan Ogden, all these guys had these personalities that were sellable. Every time I went to a car dealership to test drive a car, they'd try to give you the car. They would try to take a picture with you. I believe my buddy Tony Siracusa, with the first word on football, asked me what would I have done. And I would have had a couple businesses. I would have had a barbershop contract with a bunch of barbershops, because I was a barber. And I would have brought Bruins to this. I would have got Bruins to have appearances. I would have got a cut of the check of the guys coming to sign autographs, having a, just like they do at the wrestling store. When a wrestler comes to the wrestling store, they get a percentage of the proceeds. They sign autographs. It's a good little deal. Come meet the Bruins. I would have had football camp, speed, football, whatever it might be, mentorship. I would have had you, Skip Hicks, all you guys' faces on the cover of the flyer, and mamas and daddies would have been bringing their kids from ages 3 to 12 to these camps in flocks, like the Terry Donahue summer camps. Those things made hand over fist money. We could only work it for $200 a week. You know what I'm saying? Like a summer job for a very limited amount of time. Now they can pay those student athletes. Say you get the star athlete. Say Johnny Juzang comes back to UCLA. How much money is Johnny Juzang going to make with his name being what it is from the Final Four? I think the possibilities are endless, and no, it's not going to be fair. Some student athletes will not get the same opportunities as others. But it's to flip that script and say my jersey's on the rack. Number 1 UCLA jerseys, DTR. He ain't seen a penny of those jersey sales. And probably still won't see a penny of it. But now he can go to a place that sells those jerseys and get paid to be there, to sign autographs, to sign that number 1 jersey, and get at least a little piece of it. So I think it's a good thing. Some folks gonna be mad talking about the amateurism of it. That's some hypocrisy, man. That's total hypocrisy. There's billions of dollars being made. Student athletes get none. Now they get some. Shout out to Master P getting his son a $2 million deal with a .com type of application company. So I think it's there, man. I believe all the student athletes that have millions of followers on Instagram are now going to cash in on their followers.
West Virginia's women's athletic program.
Good goobly goop. Good goobly goop. It ain't too late. The girls that have graduated, they're going to have to recoup. It ain't too late.
Athletic program, boy. They gonna blow up.
It ain't too late. It's something in the water. We need to get down the Drew League, been some good games at Bosco. Let me know, Deacon, I need to get down there when we get back from DC. I'm in DC, man. We broadcasting remotely from Washington, DC at Howard University. Well, not actually at Howard, but down the street from Howard. I'm moving my daughter into her apartment. These girls are spoiled, man. They got the nicest apartment. How dirty was your apartment in college, Jimmy? Did you have furniture? Did you have a mattress? Did you have a bed frame?
I had a mattress on the floor, and I had a dresser. And I was just so depressed being there. I just stayed at other people's apartments. Like, you know what? This is ridiculous. After I paid rent and I only had like a couple of the bucks, I'm forced to eat fast food. I couldn't wait for training table. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, man, I need to find me a girlfriend. I need somewhere else to stay. I can't be sleeping on this mattress. Yeah, I mean, it got to the point, it was, I think, my junior year, I had the keys to Pauley Pavilion because I ran a study hall there. And they never took the keys back. Man, I was sleeping in Pauley Pavilion. That little side room door where we studied, that little side room where we studied at.
That little room was
there, man. And take a shower.
That little room was
class.
That little room was shady, man. I think some shady stuff went down in there. I think that little room, man.
Stuff went in there. I'm not gonna say by who.
There's some shady goings on. That little room was made for a reason. It wasn't just study hall. That little room, I don't know, man. They should put a camera in there. James Mack brought up a good point. He can't imagine what the bowl and championship games are going to look like now. Now, can the student athletes sign with shoe deals and not wear the shoes the school wears? They're going to have some type of restrictions.
They're going to make restrictions. There's going to be certain things you can't do still, I'm quite sure. Shoe apparel companies can't do it unless you unless you are a certain type of athlete. So say like if I'm at Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel, he can get a shoe deal, I can't. And he will get the shoe deal from the shoe company that sponsors the team. He won't be able to go outside of that. That's what I think they'll do. Like, okay, well, you can get a shoe deal from the company that does that. Because could you imagine some Johnny Manziel cleats during the time Johnny Manziel was at Texas A&M?
Yeah.
Those would have flew off the shelf in Texas like it's nothing. Nationally, some Tim Tebows, some Cam Newtons. I mean, they're going to come up with some restrictions because it's going as my wife said, some Reggie Bushes. Imagine Reggie Bush in LA at that time, and Reggie wouldn't even have to go pro. He'd have stayed in college for 4 years because he'd have been making more money off of whatever deals that he got off of his name, in image and licensing.
Hersey,
I could delay it. I'm not leaving.
Hersey Miller signed a $2 million deal. Has not played one game of college ball. He just signed more than most G League players make their whole career.
Yep.
It's about to be interesting, man. I believe, does this change student athletes being able to have an agent? Like who's gonna govern, like watch over these deals? Like who's gonna set these deals up? Is it management? Parents? No agents though, right? No agents that are connected to the league, pros.
Yep.
But they can have like a talent agent. Because now you gotta have somebody's gotta be looking out for deals for you. Like who's gonna find these deals for these student athletes? There's gonna be a lot of marketing companies popping up.
It's gonna be a casting call. Hey, you know what? Hey, we might as well get into it now, AC. Let's start writing up our documents and getting our stuff. We'll represent these kids.
Hey man.
And 80% of all that money go to them kids. We just need the 20% for the operating costs. We want these kids to most definitely be able to profit off their image. How many college football games were you in, AC?
I don't know. 40. How many games you played in?
No, how many video games were you in? How many video games were you use your image?
I was in at least 6 games. I was in at least 6 games, including in the arena football game. I didn't get none of that either. So we've been using abuse. We were just thinking it was geeky funny. Ooh, I'm in a game. Wait a minute. I didn't get no money.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it like that. I accepted that we weren't gonna make no money.
No, we were happy that we were in a game. Think about it. I could tell my son I was in a video game. Like, and I'm literally in a video game. Now, can he see me in that video game? Because Sega Genesis ain't around anymore. But I was in a video game. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, that's crazy. But man, it's a new era. But like I say, somebody's gonna abuse it. They're gonna take this way too far. And I can guarantee you it's going to be either somewhere in Texas or it's going to be somewhere in the SEC where somebody's going to take this way overboard and too far. And it's going to be it's going to be SMU all over again. That's just what it's going to be. It'll be SMU all over again, the pony excess. And we're going to just have big.
Not,
You're gonna be.
not Florida?
Florida's too crazy. They'll mess it up. Florida as a state would just mess it all up. But I just think it's a great thing for the athletes. But at some point, it's going to be abused. Somebody's going to do something extra, totally wrong.
But what could that be? So you figure say something like let's take for instance, DTR has a very popular podcast, and some say he puts too much time into it, and that might be distracting him from playing quarterback at UCLA. Realistically, is he an NFL quarterback? Not yet. He still hasn't shown us NFL quality consistency. But this podcast can make him more money than Brett Hundley ever made.
Yep.
Because you see what Jake and Logan Paul are doing, and they ain't got no talent.
None.
So now you're talking about guys that have talent, that are interesting, good looking, and don't talk about the females, because Tia Cooper, oh my God, if she was in college, able to do what she's doing now with the Sparks as far as her social media presence and her followers and her just having a good time and making you feel good, oh my God, how many endorsements would she get as a college student athlete? And other girls will be upset because she's I'm saying she's capitalizing on her appearance and her sass and everything she got going on. God bless them, but you got to get out the way. It's about to hit the flood. The floodgates have been opened. It is on. It's cracking. We're gonna have to start managing these kids. Like, not only are we gonna start training our kids to be student athletes, but we're gonna train our kids to have personality, be able to speak, be able to be presentable, be able to sell a product, because now there's going to be, starting even at the middle school level, just imagine all the middle school phenoms out there. It is no longer illegal for them to make money off their popularity and not be eligible for college. It is open now.
You said DeAnthony Thomas. Think about that.
Mama.
DeAnthony Thomas would have made so much money just as a middle school player who hadn't even played it down to high school yet. He was so hyped.
So hyped.
He would have made it's crazy. Now let's do this question. What athlete or what team do you think would have benefited from this? And we'll just go about 1980s to now. What athlete or what team you think would have really benefited from this type of exposure?
When you look at
any sport,
when you look at who were the biggest salesmen in the 80s and like who was marketable, and you would think the most charismatic guys would have had the biggest deal, but it wasn't that way. Like if Muhammad Ali only got roach spray and O.J. Simpson only could sell rental cars, and isotoner gloves, I don't know if they were ready for it in the 80s, even if it was available. Like, they would have had a couple of endorsement deals, but it wouldn't be as big as we think it is now, because I think they were still trying to figure out, is this paying this guy gonna render dividends to our company, or are we just paying him a ton of money and not work? So I think it would have been slow. Now we have scientific proof, data, that you put a face on your product, people will buy that product, and it's worth the money. So I know it would have been a slower process in the 80s, because who had endorsement deals? Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah. They all had the Converse commercials. They sold some sneakers. But who sold other products? Who sold other products? Because why is Master P's son selling internet, like an application? You know what I'm saying? So it's like the Geico, like the commercials aren't about anything. At the end of the commercial, it's about insurance. So you got the Kimby Mutombo selling insurance. So is now people are a lot more creative with their marketing. So I just know that over time, it's gotten a different approach to marketing these different products. So I know in the 80s, it probably wouldn't have been as lucrative, even though you think about Bo Jackson, Eric Dickerson, and them guys, how much they could have made that they were not allowed to make. Of course, that would have made the difference, but I don't think it would have been the common person, the kid who hasn't made it yet. Like right now, kids are going to make millions and haven't played it. Like that Mikey Williams kid on Instagram, basketball kid, we don't know if he could play at a high level versus good talent. Because when I see him playing against real good kids, he goes away. He's okay. He could dunk really well, but against good talent, he's an average player when it comes to high level, long 6'7" dudes. He's 6'3". He still has to prove he's gonna play at a high level in college. So, but he can make. He's already worth $2 million, I believe, on Instagram. Now he's gonna be worth $10 million because now he can endorse products, and products are gonna come at him. I know his daddy and his mama. As soon as that NIL was passed, that phone started ringing. So I just know from the 80s, you got the Bo Jacksons, the Marcus Allens, those kind of guys. They would have made money because they are big name guys. Fast forward, the self-proclaimed internet superstars, the Jake Paul, Logan Paul syndrome, the Kim Kardashian syndrome. They're gonna be self-proclaimed influencers. And now you can attach that to a legitimate student athlete that your kids look up to. And they're gonna cash in on guys who might have been like you and I, good at UCLA, good enough to be one of the top guys in our city, not nationwide, but still get paid as such. So I just know it's gonna be interesting to see how creative these marketing companies are gonna be, how creative these different type of .coms are gonna be, just to get. I mean, all the gaming. Just think about all the gaming. They're gonna be trying to get all these players to be on their gaming team. And endorse the gaming, community. So it's so much, man. It's like infinite, man. I'm like James Mack. We gotta start us a business, man. It's gonna be so many agencies popping up, helping student athletes get that coin, man. As a young person, everybody chiming in on this one, man.
Get yourself some lawyers. Get yourself some good people who are not gonna take you for your as with Biggie Smalls. Dang. Why they try to stick me for my paper?
All my money.
Don't get people that's shady trying to stick these kids from the paper. Let those kids get their worth, because at the end of the day, we've seen so many young people who peak out in high school, halfway through college, and never benefit off of the what they could have made to talent. Now they have an opportunity to benefit off the potential of that talent, and we don't want the snakes to be snaking these kids. Because at the end of the day, man, you build generational wealth just off of your imaging alone that can help you out. Whether you're going to be the most talented or the greatest or whatever, you're going to be able. Because imagine Zion would have made a killing. The Ball brothers, man, the Ball brothers. I mean, I know we look at the Ball brothers and we look at their dad, LeVar. They would have been, they were already worldwide. They would have been even bigger if they would have been able to. I mean, nobody heard of Chino Hills basketball until the Ball brothers was there.
Man.
So they really put that city on the map, So it's what people would do for this. Like, we're seeing it now with and this is professional college track athletes who are running world leading times. Like, forget it, I'm gone. Athene Mo from Texas A&M. She broke the NCAA record for 400 meters. She made the Olympic team at 800 meters. She was like, bye. I'm not getting paid at Texas A&M. I'm about to go pro. Sha'Carri Richardson did that after her freshman year. So these kids now, they don't have to give up an opportunity to get a free education. They can make money while still getting their education and fulfilling that dream or fulfilling that ambition to be a college athlete while getting compensated for what the school is getting compensated for, their talents. So I think this is going to be. I'm so for it.
I think that's just as exciting as the actual games. I want to see who's endorsed by who. Ty said, with all this about to happen, a new regulatory body or authority will have to be made to stop any abuse. Absolutely, because it's coming. You can't give nobody an inch; they're gonna take a foot. What's the saying? Give a brother a rope, he want to be a cowboy. He want to be a cowboy. James Max said Tia is the bomb. Yeah, she knows what she doing. What's funny is seeing the LA Sparks capitalizing on their game entrances, coming to the game in their fits. They come with their little bag and they come with their little swag. I can't even lie. I be watching it. They be coming in. I be like, go ahead, get them. Market yourself, girl. That's what you got to do. While your window is open, do that. Ms. Max said Deion Sanders. She said he would have had a nice little Jerry curl hair care product endorsement.
Get that soul glow.
Now, who would he have had now? Would he have World of Curl? Would he have had Leisure Curl? Would he have had?
He would have played that part in the movie. He'd have been in the movie. He'd have had the soul glow.
He'd have been Daryl.
Been Prime. It'd have been Daryl.
It'd have been Daryl.
Think about it. Deion Sanders in that movie at that time. Oh, it'd have been.
He'd have been terrible though. He would have been terrible. Well, not that Eric LaSalle was great, but it's Eric LaSalle who became a pretty good actor. But he was terrible in that movie.
Very good actor.
He was terrible in that movie. Hey, I got some tickets to the St. John's game. Maybe your sister want to bring somebody. Oh, come on, man. Get that dude out of here. Riley Saucy said Joey Harrington would have been great. David Carr would have been great as far as making money. They had Joey Harrington on the side of an LA building at Oregon.
Yep.
I was like, wait a minute. This is UCLA SC territory. What's this dude doing on the big? It was a big one too. They put some money into that one, man. The Fab Five. How much money would the Fab Five make?
They'd have created generational wealth. The Fab Five, I mean, people don't talk about it. In reality, they kind of saved college basketball because they were so such an enigma. You know, they were coming off the back of UNLV, and people didn't like UNLV, and people didn't like the Fab Five, but they captured the imagination of young black men who wore baggy shorts, who want the ball. They made ball heads popular. Remember you used to get the ball head cut because the Covatis and people like fresh cut and slap you on the back of the head?
Not the kid.
Having a ball head.
They were the Sha'Carri Richardson of basketball.
Yep.
Early 90s. They were the brash.
They talk. They were
trash,
crazy, man. Black socks.
Black socks, black shoes. And those were some cold, was those Air Force Ones? Those Air Force?
They had Harachis.
Harachis, black Harachis. Yeah, man. And they could have had a Harachi deal because they had their own shoe.
I was telling my wife today, I still wear Harachis.
It's a Fab Five. I still wear black socks and basketball shoes. They made it cool.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, black socks translated over to football when you saw Dre Bly wear black socks. It is
not even Dre Bly. What college was that wore black socks before we got to college?
Was it North Carolina?
Think of it.
I thought that was North Carolina that did that.
I think it could have been.
But Dre Bly had the black socks, and then Ohio State went black socks, black cleats, and they were white cleats. They hold they have that impact on the culture that only the 30 for 30 could bring up. But they were
one of the best 30s ever.
So yeah, man, Fab Five would have been great. Max said Vince Young. Yeah, he would have had the whole city. He would have had the whole state of Texas when they beat SC. Oh man, he couldn't. He didn't have to go pro. He would have had oil money. He would have had oil money. He would have had stock.
He would have named after him.
Man, he would have been so large.
It's a Vince Young boy.
Man, and James Max said, "What about the U?" Oh boy, they would have been.
Oh Miami.
They would have been endorsing some strip clubs. They would have took your idea, Mac. They would have been endorsing some serious strip clubs down there.
Miami would have. I'd have transferred to Miami. Me and Ray Lewis would have been hanging out.
You wouldn't have graduated though. You wouldn't have graduated. You'd have been a club owner. You'd be a club owner, throwing parties. They'd be like, Mac, you ain't been to class in 3 weeks and ain't going.
It been Mac and Ray's boom boom
the
room.
Boom boom room. What I'm gonna be doing in there,
Mac
Ruben?
and Ray.
Hey Mac, what I'm gonna be doing in there? You be there. You gonna be down there. LeVar Ball missed by a few years. I think we can thank LeVar Ball too, because I think some of the things he did wrong, people can learn from. Because we were trying to be down with the Triple B, but they didn't deliver their sneakers, so people started losing faith real quick. That bought the sneakers for $500 and never came. So business practices, so you still got to be, like you said, if we do start a firm, everybody on this line, start your own firm, making sure your student athletes sign legitimate deals with legitimate companies.
Yep.
So you don't get duped. Because even if LeVar Ball's company would have made it, his sons would still be wearing Triple B shoes. Something went wrong somewhere. So that's a black guy. But as far as a business model, you can learn from the blueprint. He said Jimmy Verdette. Jimmy Verdette would have got paid. They would have called him the white bucket. What was his name be? The new white chocolate. He would have sold cookies and cream Hershey's chocolate.
Nah, he would have got some deals, man. But once again, man, I'm happy that this is going on.
Yeah, man. All right,
This is gonna be great.
All right, Tim Tebow would have sold Bibles. Oh, that's terrible. Happy players can finally eat. I'm happy too. I think it would be good for local businesses as well. I think the local businesses better jump on this because you can get a kid's face on your product. I see Kawhi selling Subway, and he had an energy drink. My son had a basketball game. I bought the energy drink. I say, hey man, play like Kawhi today. Drink this. Did that mean Aaron Hernandez would have sold guns? Oh.
That was a low blow. I saw that one. That's a low blow.
Oh. Larry Johnson would have sold grandma cookies and probably Depends diapers. No. Reggie Bush would have sold energy drinks. Hirachis were the best. Elaine, you bought in Hirachis? What color? That's the key. What color? UNLV 1990 team would have been, oh man, they would have had every casino. Michigan football did it too. All black, yeah they did. Charles Woodson, Black Sox. That might have been what you thinking about, Jimmy.
Yep.
Michigan.
That's probably what I think about. Even though we're ahead of them, but I think they started doing that right after Jason Howard.
Sato Mo said Greg Anthony would have been endorsed by the Republican Party. Oh man, that's
the head of the young Republican Party at UNLV. He
was making money though. I believe he was one of the first student athletes to pay for his own scholarship. Like he rejected the scholarship and paid his way to school so he can keep making money. So he was self-employed in college. I don't know how that worked out. But he's still able to do that. All right, man. Last topic. Take it personal. Pat Bev. My man went full on above the rim on CP3 last night. Was it last night or the night before last?
Yeah.
The night before last when the Clippers got eliminated.
Well,
and you asked the question, athletes in frustration, why some athletes go over the top. Has there ever been a moment where you lost it and said, forget this game, it's time for fisticuffs. We fighting now.
Yep. He froze.
You froze up?
Froze up, yeah.
You back.
What do you think? Why do you think some athletes go over to take it too far?
Because you prepare. And it's like we talked about earlier with the Olympics. You prepare for a certain amount of time. You get to a point where you've given all you can give. And somebody just really irks you. Because you saw what CP3 was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the stuff that has bothered me about CP3 his whole career. He just knick-knack ticks and pokes and jabs and says stuff and does stuff. He's finally found a team that he can roll with, and they down with him. But up until now, I've heard a lot of the same sentiment that he's a hard guy to like. Why a person like Pat Bev would go that far, be that dirty, and push him in the back. And it didn't look like he said much at the time. I'm pretty sure he said something over the course of the game. And it was one of those Michael Jordan moments where you looked at me wrong. And I took that personal. Some guys have that fuse. Some guys just can't get over it. I've never gotten to a point where if it wasn't just a regular fight, like I remember I got into a couple of fights in football where we grabbed face masks and we slammed each other by our face masks, but you don't take a helmet off trying to swing it and kill somebody. But when you lose it, it's just a point of extreme frustration. And the last resort is fight. Like you figure in anything in life, in any arena in life, from corporate America to education, if it gets to the nitty gritty, if you do this X, Y, and Z to me in this scenario, we fight. If you disrespect me to this level and I'm already not feeling it, because you've had those days. Today's not the day. Don't mess with me today. I'm not in the mood today. And they do. And they keep jabbing at you. And they've pushed you over the edge. The Grandmaster Flash song is the message. Don't push me because I'm close. And if they push you at that point, forget this game. It's like Mike Tyson biting the ear off. It's like Zab Judah's whole team coming in the ring and start fighting. It's just that point of chaos. It's Ron Artest going in the stands. It's that moment that the human psyche cannot take being calm anymore. I think we all have it. I think mine's a little bit more extreme. I don't think any situation in the game, except for being spit on, would cause me to do what Pat Beverly did.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone disrespects my wife or my daughter or my mom, I'm Pat Beverly. I might punch him in the back. I might punch him in the ear. I wouldn't push him. I would try to really hurt him. Like, I don't know what that was. To push somebody in the back, what is that? What? I don't understand.
I think it was just
frustration.
No.
It's frustration, but everybody has a button, and it has to be a lot of existing circumstances in place before that button is pushed, and now it's on. Suspend me, take my money. Matter of fact, forget this leagues. Kick me out the league, because at this point, I'm this mad. And I think everybody has that point. And Pat Bev's is really, really, really short, because it was over. At that point, he could have gained nothing from doing what he did. So I just know we all have that limit. We all have that moment. We all have that line that please don't cross this line. And I think it is sometimes in sports, it happens quicker for those guys, those Vernon Maxwells, those Ron Artests, those Pat Bevs, those kind of guys, those Alonzo Mournings. They got a very short fuse. And some guys like to just toe that line. The habitual line steppers are CP3, Matt Barnes, Boogie Cousins, habitual line steppers, trying to start a fight. And that's what you get. What you think?
I think a lot of these guys, they just don't know how to lose in front of a lot of people. Not saying that they never lost before, but you're losing in such a way, and I think is one of the things that has happened with being at that top level. You're so used to being considered one of the best and the greatest. And you have that one night where you get cooked, and everybody sees it, and it's like, man, what can I do to kind of lessen the blow of me getting cooked like this? And the thing with Pat Bev is, he's put himself in a lot of situations where people don't like him, so they're going to trash talk him. Like the time he told Steph, the next 5 years is my years. And Steph Curry's like, dude, you're 31. when are you going to take over the league? Like, it ain't your time. You 31. It's not going to happen. So I think with athletes that take it over the line, like you said, when it comes to competitive sports, and I guess because we're both from inner city neighborhoods, people talking trash to us in sports ain't nothing. That doesn't bother us. Or like, you suck, you weak. That don't bother us. But when, like you said, they get personal about family, they start talking about your wife, your girlfriends, and things like that. Because I know I had an incident in practice, actually in the locker room in Chicago, where I have a picture of my girl in the locker. He's like, "Oh, that's your girl? Oh man, you better not bring her here, because you come here." You ain't gonna leave without her. And I said, hey, you know what? Time out. You can say whatever you want, but we're not going there. You know what I'm saying? I got respect for whatever you have with your family and stuff like that, but we're not gonna go there. And I said, as a matter of fact, she will be here. I gave him the date and said, I want you to talk to her. As soon as you say something to her, I'm punching you right in the mouth.
Right in the mouth.
Because you already stepped out of me already. Which the day she came, he seen her. He didn't say nothing. Well, Conway told him, hey, look, that dude went to Washington Prep in L.A. I don't think he playing about this. Like, he may be a rookie, but I don't think that dude playing. He went to one of the worst high schools in LA. You can Google that. Well, they didn't have Google in those days, but he's like, look that up. Like, you can look that up. Like, that dude probably playing about that.
The fight capital of LA.
Like, trash talking me and calling me weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude in Nebraska told me if I catch the ball, he gonna kill me. Like, what? I was like, that's the best you got.
That's it.
Like, you don't kill me if I catch the ball.
All right, let's see it.
All right. Man, I'll take my chances. I'm gonna catch this ball. So I mean, I think what makes athletes, like I say, they going over the top because they can't accept the fact. Like, I think the pressure of it is so overwhelming that when they lose at that level once again, and everybody's seeing, like, Phoenix didn't just beat the Clippers of the night; they blew the Clippers out. and to go out like that when you're supposed to be the Clippers, you're one of the favorites coming into the season, and you go out like that, even though you didn't have Kawhi and stuff like that. The way they went out, they were supposed to be the tough team. They're supposed to be the intimidating team, and Phoenix just walked through them the other night. Like, okay, and then really Phoenix controlled the series. They won 2 games without Chris Paul, so they were really, to it. So I mean, I just think athletes lose it, and the fact of losing Nancy Kerrigan and what's the girl that hit her with the bat?
Tanya Harding.
Tanya Harding. You have those moments where it's like, I can't beat this person. I gotta do something to lessen this blow. Like, I can't beat him legally, but I'll beat him in another way. So I just think Pat Bev had that moment. Like, I hate Chris Paul. He's a better player than me. He's beat my team now. I gotta do something. I gotta save face. And my reputation is on the line. Like, dude, it's okay, man. I mean, some dudes, was the guy for the Cleveland Browns, the great lineman who's going to the Hall of Fame. He never played in the playoffs in his 12, 13-year career with the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Never made the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So it happens, man. And I just think that a lot of these guys just gotta toughen up, man. Go to the Rucker. You know what I'm saying? Go to the Drew League in the summer and let these dudes trash talk you. So when you get to that level, it doesn't bother you.
Well, Shanton Moe said Pat Bell's from the same hometown he's from in Chicago, West Side. And that's how it goes down in Chicago. Do they push dudes in the back, though, in Chicago? I know they get fair ones. Because I played...
Don't let you... Mo grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's from the north side of Chicago.
The north side.
He ain't from the... So the side from the north side. Chi-town.
What Eminem say? What Eminem say? He has both parents in the home and a very nice life.
Yep.
Let's see. James Mack said when Garnett told Carmelo that Lala tastes like Fruity Pebbles. That's fighting talk. That's pretty much saying we have to have a fair one tonight.
Yeah.
And it may be in the locker room. It might be in the parking lot. It might be when I see you in the club tonight. That's gonna be going hard. Dietrich said Pat Bev does all the things that I said about Chris Paul, so he should be able to take it. Giving it and taking it is a sign of a bully getting bullied. So Pat Bev couldn't bully Chris Paul. Chris Paul's been bullying guys his whole career. And he can play. So that's probably where the frustration came in, like you said. Getting beat by the guy you're supposed to be intimidating. That man had 41 points at 36 years old. Who are you guarding? Who was guarding him? Was it Pat Bev? Or Pat Bev was guarding Booker? Yeah, Pat Bev was guarding Booker, so I'm not sure what his problem was with CP3. He was just mad. Bev is wrapped too tight from jump, and CP pushed that last button. We all got that button, man. We all got that button. We do not know what Chris Paul said. He said stuff the whole game, I'm pretty much certain. Ms. Mack said, remember Latrell Sprewell? Yeah, and PJ Carlissimo got what he deserved that day.
PJ Carlissimo is Latrell Sprewell.
He's like, what did you say? I don't know. I blacked out. After I said what I said, he told me to calm down, and I wouldn't calm down. Next thing I know, I was unconscious. KG did press that button on Melo. Well, shoot. It's going to be, I believe they're getting divorced now. And my wife and I had just started watching Power. And I was like, well, there you go, right there. I didn't know she was doing all this kind of stuff in the movies. It's like, I said, Lala. And then I saw her on The Shy. Was it The Shy? I saw her on The Shy and Power. I'm like, Lala, what's going on? You got a little boy playing AAU basketball, and you on these movies doing soft porn. Come on now. Pat Bev had an Andrew Bynum moment. Knew that they were going to lose, and he won't be on that team next year. Andrew Bynum went out like a gangster, didn't he? Went out like O-Dog with an elbow to the chest. My career is over. Trash talking did that, Miss Mack says. On top of being embarrassed, it happened in their home floor. Now, that's not their home floor. That's the Lakers' home floor. They were borrowing it for the night. The Clippers are still renting out. My OG, Everett Glenn in the house. Without Kawhi, like you said, they lost in 6 in the Western Conference Finals. Progress. Pat Bev was hardcore Chicago public school. Hardcore. No nuns, no priest. Public school. Rough. You don't want to be from the north side, trust me. Is the north side rough or tough or weak? North side Chicago? Is that where Donovan McNabb went to school?
North side Chicago. The north side of Chicago is the equivalent of West Hollywood.
Is it funny style? Is it
Because that's where we stay
for the Bears?
I'm with you because the Bears facility is there, so we lived in the north side.
Is that where
our hotel was in the north?
Northwestern is, right?
No, I'm not quite sure. No, I don't think Evansville isn't on the north side. I don't think.
Okay.
Hey Mo, is Evansville on the north side?
I know there's some very nice. Sure. There's some very nice parts of Chicago I visited, and I'm like, wow, this is nice.
The north side.
This is really nice.
North side is.
Pat Bev did apologize the next day, and that's the beauty of America. You can slap somebody in the face on broad daylight on TV and apologize and say I was out of my mind.
That was a terrible apology. That was the worst.
Did he go on Twitter?
Apology was terrible.
Did he go on? Did he go on Twitter?
I punched you. He's like, I punched you, but I feel bad. I punched you, but your face was right there. That's pretty much how he stated it. Like,
oh man,
he had remorse.
He ain't sorry.
Yeah,
he's sorry,
that's
guy. He's sorry it was on TV.
Everglades right at Lake Forest.
Okay.
Yeah. Forest.
They're getting divorced. He has twins in London. Oh, that'll do it. Dang it, Mello. Yeah, Lala out there getting her money. She thought she had her own NIL coming out, her own image and likeness. She's like, I'm gonna get paid off this name while I still have it.
Man, remember when Lala was a DJ out here?
Man, Lake Forest is a suburb of North Chicago. Weak apology on Twitter. CP3, homie, my bad. I was out of my mind for a second. I didn't really mean that, man. Yes, you did. You tried to break that man.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, you break that man's neck. Lala was on Power 106. Yeah, man. All right, man. Final words. What we got?
Final words, man. 4th of July coming up Sunday. 4th of July been started over here for about 2 weeks now. They've been shooting off like crazy. But, everybody stay safe. As I was telling some of my players at the college, I have a friend that I grew up with. He spent, he's probably still like this. Blew off his finger playing around with fireworks. So be safe out there. If you're going to do this, do it in moderation. Don't be trying to be a daredevil, man. We're here to celebrate the ideology of all men are created equal and free in this country. And it seems like we don't practice that enough in this country. So if we're going to be celebrating, we're going to do this. We need to put the real meaning behind this. That all men under God are created equal and have the ability to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So let's start putting that into practice as a society, and also stay safe. We're not out of the pandemic yet, but let's keep keep doing the things, safe practices that are going to protect everybody. Amen,
brother. I don't have nothing profound. I'm out here in DC once again on the East Coast, just checking out this new life we are now afforded with some types of freedoms, where some companies and some businesses are saying masks if you're vaccinated, masks if you're not. So in DC it's a different vibe than LA and anywhere else. I think it's it's pretty cool out here. It's pretty chill, where it's not as uptight as far as racial concerns, racial matters. It just seems like everybody's doing their own thing, and it's refreshing. And I'm like I said, I'm moving my daughter into her college apartment. And I talked to her a little bit today. I said, we prayed about this, that you would have a college experience. Last year at this time, she didn't think she would have one. So I think us parents and us mentors, Everett Glenn mentors those boys at the BOSS program, over 100 students, student athletes that he's mentoring to become business-minded young athletes, especially but now with the NIL, I'm pretty sure Everett going to have his hands full with the kids getting endorsements for things like that. But as far as us being influence over young people, let's help them transition back to regular activities. Just help them transition back to their lives as it was before. Them being at home for a year, them having to face the reality of going back to class, back to their process of being an educated graduate of a school, whether it be middle school, high school, or college. It's still a very important part of the hierarchy of society, you know, being educated and finishing school. So that's kind of why we're in DC now, to make sure my daughter finishes Howard. She's going to be a junior. She's excited. She's spoiled rotten, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So I want her to really enjoy herself. So our whole family's up here and just supporting her. And we'll do the same thing for my son when it's his turn. So families, parents, support these young folks. Continue to share positivity to them when they were not sure about their lives this time last year. They were like, are we ever going to be able to go back to school? Are we ever going to be able to graduate and walk across that stage? And my prayers were answered. It's going to happen. We still got to be smart, though. Stay masked up. And when you come in crowds, don't be out there coughing and sneezing on folks. Be careful. Wash your hands. Do all the good stuff, man. All right, man. I'm gonna make an effort to get up tomorrow. Since I'm on the East Coast with the Collective Podcast, I'll hop on with Rodney Sides here and AC from LA and see what they talking about. So if we can't find Trey Hop. But yeah, man. Good show. Appreciate everybody for coming on. Rodney Sides here said he felt like he cheated on his wife when he saw Lala in that sex scene on Power. She tried to get her Halle Berry on. She tried to get her a award for a.
Oh, she tried to do a monster ball?
She got her monster ball on. I'm like, oh my goodness. I had to turn it down. Like, I don't want my kids coming here thinking I'm watching. My wife and I was like, oh my goodness, Lala. Was that in the script? I said, I think 50 Cent wrote this scene. I think he wrote this scene. I think 50 Cent was trolling. He was trolling Carmelo. Let's see how far we can get his wife to go. And she's like, whatever it takes to get the Emmy, let's do it. Let's get the Emmy. Peace and love, James Mack. Elaine, appreciate you. Didn't feel when you come off that 14th Street Bridge in Virginia. Yeah. Lala. Like doing it on camera. Shots almost a different feel when you come off that 14th Street. It is, man. All right, man. We'll holla at y'all next time.
Everybody be safe.
Peace
Take
and blessings.
care.
Peace and blessings. Kiss them kids.